Welcome to this week's episode of the Last Night's Game podcast. I'm your host, Amy Butchon Siegfried. We're so excited to have you here today. Thank you for joining us as we talk about athletes who might be responsible for your next hangover. Everyone's diving into the alcohol industry, including the non-alcoholic industry too. So let's hear to talk about it just a little bit is my co-host and my favorite brother, Scott. Scott, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me on. We're here to maybe give you someone to blame. If you're not drinking responsibly at some point and maybe have a hangover, you can blame your favorite athlete. After this podcast, you'll know who is responsible. As we get out there in the summer months, people are outside, the lakes, beaches, enjoying themselves. And you could probably blame LeBron James for something.
For something. Well, it's interesting when you really look at the list, and we have that sitting in front of us. If you walked into a liquor store, there are a significant amount of tequilas and bourbons and wine, different things that athletes really have touched. And like it's that whole industry has grown so much in these kind of celebrity status, if you will, or celebrity having a tequila or whatever that is. I mean, let's be honest. The Rock it's probably the biggest one who's just succeeded. I mean, everything he touches turns to gold. And with his Terramana tequila, it does not meet our list of additive-free tequilas. But regardless, it was one of the fastest growing celebrity spirits in history. So you're seeing how people are going, oh, look at what happened to The Rock. Let's jump in too.
And obviously, The Rock is a different level of self-promoter, better than literally anyone we've ever seen from his time in wrestling and movies and now alcohols and his famous cheat day. I think we did a post that it's what
Banana pancakes and tequila was one of his cheat day meals. But his cheat day meals are like, I mean, they're epic. They're like 3 pizzas and some ice cream. Like they are stuff that you're like, how did you even fit that much food in your body?
And I mean, are we really that impressed of his cheat meals if he still looks like he does? Like that's not fair.
Does he get like a cheat meal once a year?
Yeah, he doesn't. He probably have cheat meals like some of the other people who consume his beverages do.
Maybe so. Well, somebody told me they met him and that he's like, they said he's built like a fire hydrant. He's not very tall, but he is just like sturdy.
Yeah, he's a big guy at whatever age. He's close to 50, I think now, probably.
Probably, if not old.
Closer than I am.
Well, hey,
We're not similar builds either, so that's neither here nor there.
I'm looking up how old he is while we chat. But I mean, his tequila, I think, really just set off the market for all the ones that you see. I mean, have you drank any of the ones on our list? Have you had? I mean, I know I've had. Sinacoro is Michael Jordan's tequila.
Yes, that's a little bit more expensive. That's more on the classy side. So I've had that as well. It's okay.
Okay.
Not necessarily my favorite, but I've had it, and I think probably because Michael Jordan was behind it was the reason it was ordered.
That makes sense. Well, I was gonna say you and I both are tequila drinkers, but other athletes that have invested with him are Serena Williams, Derek Jeter, Dustin Johnson, the golfer, Keegan Bradley, baseball player, right?
Captain America, the Ryder team. Ryder Cup
golf.
team.
Okay.
Yes, golf.
Well, see, this is why I keep Scott around. I don't know all these things all the time.
Useless knowledge.
It's not true. But your useless knowledge did not come in handy because Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is 53 years old.
53.
53.
He's still closer to 50 than I am. So
Truth.
If you want to look like The Rock, just keep drinking his tequila.
And eating banana pancakes or whatever that is. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Well, LeBron James has his hands in quite a few different things.
He does.
He's an investor in Lobos 1707. This is my favorite tequila one, though. And I had to you second guessed me too, and I had to look it up myself. So Travis Kelce has a line of canned tequila sodas called Casa Azul, not to be confused with Clase Azul, which is the big kind of weird shaped tequila bottle. It's white and blue is sort of their signature look, and it has a silver top. It's a bell on top. If you ding it, it's not meant to be a bell, but it dings if you a bell if you did. 2 totally different things. Canned tequila sodas and additive-free organic tequila is the Clase Azul, also much more expensive. But they have some investors like Rob Gronkowski, which I'm shocked that he's actually only invested on one thing on this list, and Brooks Koepka.
3 great athletes.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm sure Rob is probably in more than we know.
Yes, that's probably true.
And he's not spent any of his NFL check, so I'm sure he's enjoying his sponsorship deals with this and investing.
He's never spent any of his NFL checks?
That is what he's been saying his entire life. That he just
Really? So he
all
just,
his
like, put them all away?
endorsements, yeah, his endorsements and everything else that he does, whatever he may be doing.
Pays his bills.
Yes, pays his bills. Correct.
What is he doing these days anyways? Besides
Whatever he
partying?
wants.
Okay.
Spiking watermelons in grocery stores and I don't know.
And feeding Tom Brady avocado tequila.
Yes.
Yes.
Jumped out of a plane. I think he's on I think he's on CBS or Fox NFL morning show. Remember he
Okay.
jumped out of a plane when they were at Air Force Academy. I know he
That's
did
right,
that
and
for
he
sure.
didn't he do the helicopter one where they jumped out of the helicopter too or something? Yeah,
Into
he
the water,
does.
maybe. He's doing
Yes.
very, very random things, yes.
Yes,
And
yes.
also investing in tequila.
Well, you might wanna drink some tequila before or after you do that.
Yes. You've
Although when I
jumped out
jumped
of
out
a
of a
plane.
plane, I would not wanna if I would did not want anything with the word tequila in my stomach doing that.
Okay.
That would've been a bad choice. It's a lot of responsibility when you
It
jump out of
is.
a plane by yourself.
To stay alive.
Yeah, exactly. So, obviously, we drink tequila, but let's talk a little bit about wine because there's a love affair with the wine industry, and
Mhm.
I'm gonna start with none other than my girl Danica Patrick. Speaking
Yes.
of tiny and petite, her Napa Valley Vineyard Somnium, which means dream in Latin,
Uh-huh.
their rosé is pretty good. I've had it before, and one of the wineries I went to go visit, they have, like, a shared, cellar space,
Yes.
and so a lot of her barrels are in there, so it's a pretty good option.
Good rosé
Mhm.
for a nice hot summer day.
Rosé
Maybe
all day.
while you're watching a NASCAR race or maybe the Indy 500 that she's part of.
Yeah,
Any of those?
nothing says NASCAR like rosé.
Rosé.
Yeah,
Exactly.
from a bag.
BYOB.
No offense.
Bring your own rosé.
That's true.
BYOR.
BO Um, but I mean, Danica Patrick's into it. She's been in that for a long time. I think since
Yes.
maybe even before she retired.
And there may be people in the wine world that don't even recognize her as a driver and just
This
as
is
a wine
possible.
person.
This is possible.
Yes.
The one I love is announcer Jim Nance. He calls, NFL games, but he's the voice of the Masters.
Yes.
And so his voice is, probably hopefully as smooth as his wine
Mhm.
and might put you to sleep as well, in a good way, of course, like just like his golf voice. But it's called The Calling, and I've actually drank this somewhere along the line, and we joined
Mhm.
their wine club, having no idea it was Jim Nance's wine. It's good stuff from, Healdsburg in California. But can you share real quickly? It doesn't have a lot to do with this, but I want to share the quick story about Jim Nance and the Scotty Scheffler Yukon.
Yeah, this is a good story. Doesn't necessarily have to do with wine, but just to give you the kind of person Jim is, very giving, very caring with his melodic voice as you take a wine nap. The legend of Scotty Scheffler, he's the number one golfer in the world, one of the most like down to earth and humble people you'll ever see, despite making $70 million last season. Drove a 2012 Suburban, or yeah,
Yukon.
Yukon Suburban
Mhm.
that he'd had when his parents they went to the Masters and their car broke down and they had to buy another car in 2012. So they bought this Yukon and Scotty drove it, I think, up until last year.
I think
So
so.
there's like 200,000 miles on it, and he's won, millions and millions of dollars. He'd been driving it forever, but I think he set the record for money earned in a season. So he had to upgrade his car, and to do that, he put it up for auction for a child's cancer
Mhm.
charity.
Mhm.
And Jim went in there knowing the significance of this car, of this Yukon, and threw out a massive bid of $50,000 for this 13, 14-year-old car and got it. So, and he keeps it in Augusta, I believe,
I
to
think
drive
it stays in
around.
Augusta. Yeah, to drive
So,
around. Yep.
so that's the kind of person Jim is.
Yeah. It's a really cool story. I mean, I just think
Yeah.
that was just really fun that he was like, "Look, I wanna," they have a common connection, with a friend of Scotty's and a
Mhm.
friend of Jim's who had childhood cancer, and so it's cool, like, it's a cool full circle story of, Jim Nance, and so if you
Yes.
want to, support a good dude who, both good dudes in golf, I suppose, but wanna support a good
Yes.
dude in golf, grab yourself a bottle of Calling,
The calling. Yes.
The Calling. Um, I mean, there's a ton of old school golfers, Greg Norman, Ernie Els, who are in the wine industry. Ernie Els is in South Africa, actually. I went to his restaurant when we were there at one point in the wine area there. Yao Ming.
Was it
Remember
good?
Yao Ming? What's that?
Was Ernie's wine good?
The wine is decent. Yeah, the wine is decent.
Did you feel like you could golf afterwards?
No, I never feel like I can golf.
Okay.
I might need some more of that tequila.
Okay.
But Yao Ming, remember Yao Ming? He was like the first big, huge, literally like height wise,
Yes.
player to come out of China. And he is obviously since retired, but he's got himself a vineyard, an expensive bottle of wine as well.
I did not know this. This is big breaking news.
Yeah. The Chinese market is huge for wine.
Who was it? There was somebody that had like they did like a live stream of wine and sold like hundreds of millions of dollars. Oh gosh.
Was it an athlete?
I think so. I'll look this up and I'll circle
You'll
back.
have to Google it while we chat.
Yes, but
So
Yao Ming did that.
Yeah, Yao Ming, who was over 7 feet tall, came into the NBA, had a reasonably long career, but he has Yao Family Wines, based in St. Helena, California. Did you figure out your option?
I did.
And tell us about it.
James Harden sold 10,000 bottles of wine in seconds on a live stream
Oh, wow.
in China, probably because of Yao Ming.
Yeah. I mean, the Chinese wine market is
Yes.
incredibly lucrative. And also, let's just add to the last of the list of this one, the owner of maybe the world's smallest statue, Dwayne Wade, and his Wade Cellars.
Worst statue.
Is it the worst statue?
Remember his face is like completely
Is it
different.
worse than Cristiano Ronaldo's though?
It's very bad. Yes.
It's bad, but is it worse than that? That one's pretty bad too.
Well, they're both
pretty rough. But I also remember it being quite small.
Yeah, either way, it's bad.
Yeah. So it's outside of what Miami Heat Stadium, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can get a bottle of Wade Cellars maybe there.
You probably can.
And then maybe the statue will look better after a few bottles.
Definitely true on that one.
Yes.
Where do we want to go? Got a little bit of time left. Do we want to go? I want to talk about one, and we don't have to talk about the rest of them.
Okay.
But Conor McGregor's proper number 12 Irish whiskey. It is probably one of the most lucrative athlete-owned spirit brands, probably besides The Rock. But in 2021, he sold it for the majority stake. So the majority, not all of it, for like $600 million. Like, could his whiskey be more popular than him?
I think at the time they were probably hand in hand. I would guess. True. I didn't realize that he sold out.
Well, it says a majority stake, so he probably still owns some of it.
Yeah, I mean, at the time he was the top promoter in the world, right, of himself.
Mm-hmm. I mean, once again, going back to being, the Deion Sanders level, the Rock level, like self promoter, and he was controversial. He got himself into some trouble, but people knew who he was.
Yes, and so therefore you drink his whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, he's an Irishman, so why not make your own Irish whiskey brand?
It's right on par. I think he may have had it a little too much throughout the years, perhaps.
Perhaps. But it made him $600 million. Probably more than he made fighting.
Yeah, definitely. So
there's that.
It works.
Yeah, he was. Did we even talk about he was a MMA fighter?
Yes. And he always is rumored to come back, but he's probably never coming back.
I think after
once
a
you
while,
make $600 million, it's pretty hard to get up and train to get punched in the face.
But I mean, Mike Tyson came back for a Netflix special.
He did. He did for a Netflix fight against one of the Paul brothers. I don't know who they are.
It was Jake.
I'm sure Conor will fight a Paul brother at some point.
Yeah, true. Maybe there's
also great self-promoters.
Yes.
There's a theme here.
Jake has a Prime, the water. Isn't it like a energy drink or something?
Yes. And I don't want to disparage, but I think they've gotten a lot of legal. There's been a lot of legal actions against them for the amount of like caffeine listed and like the ingredients is like the levels of caffeine were insane in those drinks.
They make Mountain Dew look normal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's still going or not. There's a lot of countries that won't carry it. I have not. I'm scared to death to drink it.
Your heart will explode.
Yeah.
One that I have in my in the bar is Steph Curry's bourbon, Gentleman's Cut. He released a cool special bottle not that long ago that I think we picked up somehow.
Yeah, and he's had it since 2023. Steph Curry's the best three-point shooter of all time in the NBA as far as makes go. And back in March, he became one of the first players to hit 4,000 threes in a season. Wow. So obviously he's going to celebrate by releasing a special edition of his whiskey was it aged 4,000 days, I think was
Oh,
the
that makes
tag
sense.
the tagline. I'm not good at math. I don't know how long 4,000 days is, but I assume that's long enough to have a nice bourbon.
Yeah, that seems logical, and I have not had it yet, but we got an email, my husband is a avid collector of bourbon and
Yes.
things like that, so we got an email that was out, and he was like, "Oh, well, my wife's in sports, so I should buy this bottle of bourbon that I will drink, but it's not really my cup of tea, no pun intended." So that's why we have one, because it was really for me.
It was for you, yes, and
It was
your 3-point shooting abilities that you
Yes.
may have after drinking this.
Do you know what my career 3-point, percentage is?
100%.
0%.
Well,
0%.
you've never missed.
I may have tried, maybe not. By the way, 4,000 days, 10 years, well, 10.958 years,
Okay,
almost 11 years.
there's some math for you. You don't usually get on this podcast, so
You know,
there
you
you
don't
go.
get math. We don't like math around here.
And
Um,
coincidentally, when we were doing the dad podcast, we realized he passed his father 10 years ago, and the amount of 3-pointers made. So maybe there's also a little subtle jab.
maybe so, maybe so.
Hmm.
Speaking of subtle jabs, I feel like we've got to go back to, let's talk about Shaq's beatbox. His feet are not subtle. Those
No.
are that's the display you might see in your local
Yes.
gas station for his beatbox blueberry lemonade, which, as I read this description, a boozy twist on the classic blueberry lemonade. Didn't know blueberry lemonade was a classic, bursting
Yes.
with berry goodness.
Delicious.
Delicious. How does that hangover sound?
Really bad. Really
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a malt liquor kind of beverage that tastes
Like a
like
like a White
blueberries.
Claw.
Yeah, like kind of like a wine. They have like a wine
Well,
version too.
I see wine-based and malt-based, which malt-based would be like a White Claw. But also, no thank you.
And we got the wine one, not knowing what it was, and had it just for fun at one point.
And
It's not as good as Shaq's is going to be, I assume.
okay.
And yeah,
Well,
the reason I know about this is because it's the gas station next to my house, and there's a huge display. If you're on watching on YouTube, it's a display with his feet at the bottom, so you can stand there and pretend you're Shaq and feel like a very big person. And it's 11% alcohol, so it'll get the party going.
it'll I does it have the nutritional effects? I just can't imagine. It sounds blueberry lemonade sounds like it's got a lot of sugar going for it.
It's all organic, grass-fed blueberries. Maybe the beatbox is an ode to his DJ career, DJ Diesel. So
That
he's
would
got
make
the
sense.
beatbox. Yes.
That would make a lot of sense. I mean, we have the Kelsey brothers, who are the co-owners of Garage Beer, a classic light beer brewed in Ohio.
So it's classy.
It's gotta be good.
Mhm.
I've heard Ohio and Colorado brew very similar beers. Same. Troy Aikman, which I don't think you can get, but I can get it. The Elite Light Lager. Say
Yes.
that 10 times fast. Like, don't drink too many of these because you actually can't say anything when you're done.
No.
But
Absolutely.
that's organic grains, similar to the
Yes.
beatbox. No fillers, preservatives, etc., etc. But it's also low calorie count, 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. So they're trying to adapt into that Michelob Ultra market, I think.
Yes, and I think it's really limited on distribution because of ridiculous laws, right, in Texas that they can't
I think
get
it's
out or
Texas and
something.
Oklahoma that you can get it in. So
And that's
if you
it.
want,
So
come our
good for
way.
Cowboys fans.
Good for really guess who's going to buy that?
Cowboys
Cowboys
fans.
fans, because
And
Troy
it's
Aikman, Cowboy legend.
and low in calories so he can stay fit and in shape for his Monday Night Football gig with
With why am I blanking on his name? I can picture him. Joe Buck.
Joe Buck. Yes.
Joe Buck.
Who's been known to he will drink beer during the broadcast just to stay loose sometimes.
Joe will?
Yeah.
Do you think he's drinking Elite Light Lager?
He might be now.
That might be how he warms up. He just says 8 Elite Light Lager 18
You say
times and is
that 18 times, you're good.
just
I mean,
ready to go.
like Ron Burgundy, the arsonist has oddly shaped feet.
So, let's wrap us with, I mean, there's still so many that we've not
Yeah.
even covered. More whiskeys, more vodkas. But I want to talk a little bit about athletic brewing, because I think that's a whole market that is just boomed, right? The non-alcoholic cocktail market, but the non-alcoholic craft beer market. And really the big name on this one is J.J. Watt. I know he really pushed that, but we have Justin Tuck, Lance Armstrong are all investors in it. They closed a $50 million financing round last year. I thought it was interesting. They only had 19% market share within the non-alcoholic beer category, which I figured they would have more,
Hmm.
but I also am not a beer drinker, so I can't tell you that. But they've grown. What does it say here? The category itself has grown like 50% year to date. So like, it's just this whole category is just booming.
Yes. It's this new generation of people is more less alcohol, more fun, I guess. I don't know.
So you know what I heard? I read an article the other day that said it's not necessarily that the non-alcoholic market is booming. It's that
Mhm.
the gaming market of people not going out and staying home, and gamers don't want I'm not a gamer, so I'm just excuse me for putting words in your mouth. But gamers don't want alcohol. And so, but they want something similar, something different,
Mhm.
like to something that's going to be a different thing to drink besides just water. And so, hence the growth in non alcoholic items like athletic brewing.
Yes, and your favorite athletes whose bodies look like they don't drink beer.
That's a
So
true statement.
the JJ Watt's a great example of this. And that
Well, if he was drinking 8 Elite Light Lager before his broadcasting gigs,
he may be now.
he may be now.
And I'm
Broadcast like
sure
a champion.
when he's over in England with the soccer team, I'm sure he's not drinking athletic beer.
No, something tells me they don't have that there.
They do not. No.
No. Also, you cannot find a White Claw or anything like that there either.
Sad.
Sad, but true. I mean, they have different standards than we do.
Yes.
Okay, there's so many more that we could talk about, but we are going to just log off and hope that you can go find yourself some Peyton Manning bourbon and Terry Bradshaw bourbon and Mike Piazza whiskey and Floyd Mayweather champagne. All good things to keep in mind when you roam the aisles of your local liquor store or your grocery store. Just remember who to thank for that hangover.
Yes. And thank you.
Cheers.